So, it wasn't a guitar solo. It wasn't a drum fill. It was this haunting sound. It's like a ghost playing an orchestra that redefined prog rock forever. From King Crimson's chilling debut to Yes bending time itself, these are the top 10 Mellotron moments that sent shockwaves through the music history. You're about to hear the sound that launched 1,000 bands. And before the digital age, before synths could emulate anything from a harpsichord to a jet engine, there was the Mellotron. This was a box of tape loops and dreams. Developed in the early 1960s, it was a mechanical sampler, each key playing a strip of magnetic tape pre-recorded with orchestral instruments. Press a key and a string section emerges. Let go and the illusion dissolves. In the hands of progressive rock pioneers, the Mellotron wasn't just an instrument, it was an atmosphere. It conjured entire worlds. And in the late 60s and early 70s in particular, when musical boundaries were being torched and rebuilt nightly on stages across Britain and elsewhere, the Mellotron really became both weapon and muse. Let's start with one of the most iconic openings in prog rock. Genesis's Watcher of the Skies. Now the track begins not with a guitar or drums, but a Mellotron Mark II, dialed to the choir setting. It's like hearing a cosmic sunrise, eerie, commanding, unearthly. Tony Banks knew how to wield the Mellotron, not for lushness, but for tension. The chords he plays don't resolve. They hover, suggesting vast, unknowable space. Now, this wasn't a background texture. This was the voice of song's sci-fi narrative, and a fitting prelude to Peter Gabriel's tale of alien observation and loneliness. Now, Barclay James Harvest never quite got the same spotlight as Yes or Genesis, but their use of Mellotron on Mockingbird really deserves some attention. It's lush and symphonic, but tinged with melancholy, and here the Mellotron becomes the emotional core of the piece. Wally Wolstenholme layers strings like a romantic era composer, painting over pastoral verses with vast cinematic washes. It's not just a musical choice here, it's a philosophical one. It says, rock music can aspire to the emotional weight of classical music. In that vein, Italy's Primatoria Formio Marconi brought something new to the Mellotron's arsenal. Now in Appena un po', the Mellotron flutters in and out like a ghost. Supporting those delicate flute lines and harpsichord. It's a masterclass in restraint. And PFM don't overpower. They weave the Mellotron into the song's baroque structure. And for those non-English listeners, it proved the Mellotron wasn't just a British eccentricity. It was a universal instrument of emotion. Camel are often overlooked in prog discussions. But with Lady Fantasy, this is a prime example of the Mellotron used dynamically. Here, it doesn't dominate the mix. Instead, it supports soaring guitar leads and those changing time signatures with textual nuance. At around the 6-minute mark in this piece, when the tempo slows and that Mellotron fades in, it's like the room gets colder. Andy Latimer's guitar bends gently against the Mellotron's blanket of string sounds. And it's a moment of haunting clarity in a track that morphs constantly. Let's talk about the track Starless now, and this is often hailed as the ultimate King Crimson piece. And here, the Mellotron is its secret weapon. The saxophone of Mel Collins and Robert Fripp's guitar dance around the melancholy motif, but it's the mellotron that gives the song its emotional gravity. That sustained note as the mellotron swells, it feels like a eulogy. Now, in many ways, it was. The end of the first era of prog excess. The mellotron doesn't just accompany Fripp's morning guitar, it weeps with it. Yes weren't known for their subtlety, and in Heart of the Sunrise, they used the mellotron not for gentle atmosphere, but for brute force. Here, Rick Wakeman punches the choir settings like a cathedral organ, doubling bass riffs and adding harmonic tension. Now, what makes this mellotron moment great isn't just the sound, it's how it competes. Amid Chris Squire's aggressive bass and Bill Bruford's angular drums, the mellotron here doesn't fade, it roars. It proves the instrument could be bombastic, even violent. Now, while some purists might balk at including the Moody Blues in a prog list, there's no denying that what Mike Pinder did with the mellotron on Nights in White Satin
beauty I'd always missed with these eyes before.
This is ground zero, the moment the instrument entered the mainstream psyche. So before King Crimson, before Genesis, there was this lush strings, impossibly romantic, and recorded not in Abbey Road with an orchestra, but with tapes and keys.
Yes, I love you.
The mellotron wasn't just imitating violins, it was out-emoting them. A radical moment for rock production. Now, from the quarter of the Crimson Kings, the track Epitaph is arguably the most devastating use of the mellotron ever recorded. Ian MacDonald's string arrangements conjure apocalypse, futility, and frozen time. There's no subtlety here, just waves of mellotron swallowing Greg Lake's vocals whole. The song ends not with a bang, but with a slow decay of mellotron strings into silence. For many, this track was the mellotron's coming of age. But what about the 23-minute epic Supper's Ready? And this could have collapsed under its own ambition, but instead it's held together by one instrument, the mellotron. Tony Banks uses it like a conductor, shifting scenes, building peaks, bridging Peter Gabriel's theatrical segments with choral grandeur. The Apocalypse and 9/8 section wouldn't hit half as hard without the mellotron's organ setting. Which gives it a manic religious intensity. It's both church and madness in one sound. The Court of the Crimson King from 1969 was the undisputed king of mellotron moments. Now, when the track of Crimson's debut opens, the mellotron doesn't creep, it declares. The orchestral setting is turned up to 11, and suddenly rock music sounds like medieval prophecy. Greg Lake's vocals are almost secondary here. The mellotron is the song, bombastic, beautiful, and really utterly unrepeatable. This track launched 1,000 bands and set the tone for what prog rock could be. Fearless, grandiose, and really unapologetically strange. Now, the mellotron was never perfect. It was heavy. It went out of tune. Its tapes jammed. But that fragility was humanity. In a genre that sometimes lost itself in technical wizardry, the Mellotron grounded a prog rock in emotion. Its legacy lives on in the samples used by Radiohead, in Steven Wilson's atmospheric mixtures, even in modern metal bands like perhaps Opeth. But its golden age, those 10 moments, are where it became something more than an instrument. It became a character, a ghost in the machine. So the next time you hear that distant choral swell, or those weeping strings from another world, just remember, it wasn't just a sound. It was a revolution. Now let me know your favourite Mellotron moments, as I'm sure there will be lots of other exciting examples I've not even thought of here. Now if you have found the video interesting, then please smash the like button and I will be forever grateful. Now I started this video looking at the track Watch of the Skies by Genesis, and I did a much more detailed look at that track in another video I shot a while ago. Now that's the video I want you to watch next, and I'll see you over there.